kind of disagree.
You kind of disagree?
Yeah.
I'm not saying, but I'm not saying, maybe she's saying, I'm not saying that it's not a good value.
Okay. Today we're going to talk about the 5 reasons we are not going to Disney World this year in 2022.
For context, we took the kids in 2019. Now, Ashley and the boys had been a couple of times before that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the first time for me and James and the girls. And then Ashley and I went in November of 2020 for our honeymoon.
Yeah, it's a very interesting trip.
Yes, yeah. It's probably my favorite trip to Disney of the two. And then last year we actually went to Universal in October instead of Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we try to do a trip like that with the kids every year.
Mm-hmm.
So this year, though, we've decided that we're not going to do the big Disney trip.
So the first reason is planning. So I'm a big planner. I love to plan out our vacation, typically. Disney, however, has become really kind of insane-o on the planning. If you have things that you absolutely want to do, you're going to have to really plan meticulously to make that happen for you or your family or your kids. Even the kids even made the comment that we didn't see Mickey while we were there, which I didn't think was going to be a big deal to them, but obviously they've made that comment to me. So it's just year after year, it's just consecutively got worse, and now they have like the Genie Plus thing, which is kind of insane to me. I think it's just a lot, and it used to be you kind of had a choice. You could plan it out and, you know, maybe get a little more done or whatever, but there was still an option to walk up to things or walk up to a restaurant and eat, or kind of, you know, just go by the seat of your pants all day. And very rarely can you do that now, definitely not with a family group. So the planning's become a lot.
Right. Especially if you're staying on property and eating on property, then you really got to plan out your reservations and your transportation and all of those things. And, you know, I'm more of a go with the flow type person, which I know that creates a great deal of anxiety for Ashley, but
yeah,
I did very much appreciate that she had, you know, taken the time to make a good plan for, you know, the restaurants we ate at, or with the, you know, now in 2020 they didn't have fast passes going, but you know, she had gotten our fast passes reserved for the 2019 trip. And that time we were a group of 8. You know, and when you're that size or larger group, absolutely have to have everything planned, because there's just no way to squeeze something in, and other than maybe like mobile ordering on the walk-ups and stuff. But
yeah, that size group is definitely a challenge too, because it's hard to try to decide like when everybody's gonna want to eat or work in bathroom breaks, or, you know, there were a couple days that it got kind of hairy because it was just so like to the letter. But we kind of had to be that way if we were gonna like actually do something other than wait in a line. So we still had a lot of fun. It was still a great trip, but you know, that can kind of bum you out on vacation when you're in line a lot, or feel like you just have to get to the next thing. It's a little more pressure,
for sure. So the next thing is, the next reason is the quality of the vacation.
Yeah, which kind of coincides with the planning bit too a little bit, because when the Star Wars ride opened and you had to be in the park on their Wi-Fi, already checked in, and try to get a pass to ride that ride. So you know, to each their own, but it's not my favorite thing, getting up like super early on vacation to try to do that. Also, you know, like when we went the last time, a lot of the live entertainment was gone. I've heard that some of that has come back, but it's really not quite up to the same level as before COVID. So for sure that's, you know, a quality thing too. And I think we learned last year when we went to Universal, the staff there were just as nice and did just as much to help us have a great vacation as, you know, Disney cast members. So there's kind of equal experience to be had other places.
Number 3 reason is crowds. And I think that the crowd sizes are going to be kind of interesting to watch, because when we when we went 19 in, you know, pre everything, then for me, that's kind of my baseline. We went over, it was Easter week, and yeah, I mean, it was very crowded every day, everywhere. And that's just kind of the normal in those amusement parks.
Right.
And then when we went in 2020, in the middle of everything, it was much different. Yeah. Now, they did have, the queue lines were a lot longer at that time because they had the 6 foot distancing set up. So like when I looked at my health app, I think we ended up walking about 30 or 40% more in 2020 than we did in 2019, and it was just because the queue line was so much longer.
Yeah, to accommodate that. I will say, before I met Charles, and when the boys were young, we went on Thanksgiving week with my mom, my grandma, my little brother, and so a large group, and that crowd level was probably twice what we experienced in 19. It was, I mean, you were elbow to elbow with somebody the whole time pretty much.
Right.
So I have seen like the craziness, because there were a couple of days even that the park reached capacity and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do anticipate this year though that the crowd level will be high pretty much year round, because there's pent-up demand. A lot of people, you know, didn't want to travel. Orlando was kind of a hot spot for the virus for a while, you know, so people didn't want to travel there. And they've also opened that Star Wars hotel, so that's going to be a big draw for people, you know, all year long, I think. So
yeah, I think there's pent-up demand and other reasons that there's going to be increased traffic this year for sure.
Right.
So the next reason why we're not doing a big trip this year is, you know, our priorities are a little different this year. So our boys are, you know, 15, 16, and 16. And so the 2 older ones will be turning 17 this summer. And, you know, high schoolers, they've all, the youngest one doesn't have a job, but the other 2 have jobs.
Yeah.
Then we got to deal with, you know, Boy Scout camp and band camp and
right, a lot more activities, boys trying to get their license, and there's just a lot going on.
There's a lot going on
to juggle, and it's just getting harder and harder to get everybody together for a whole week-long vacation. And just our season of life right now, it's a lot more realistic to do a weekend thing here and there rather than take a big week-long trip.
Yeah. It was really kind of happenstance that the Universal trip happened last summer. You know, it was just kind of an opportunity that opened up, because we didn't plan that out super far in advance.
Yeah, it was kind of last minute, not super last minute, but compared to normally how we would plan that out.
Oh yeah, it's like we started planning the Disney trips, you know, 6+ months in advance.
Right.
And we didn't know we were going to Universal in July last year, and we went down there in October,
right? Which
that's unheard of for even a Universal trip. So yeah, that's, for me, that's probably the biggest reason why we're not going to attempt a big trip this year. It's just Our priorities are such this year that we're not going to, try to squeeze that in. I think that doing that would just create more stress than it would, memories or relaxation. And that's, for me, that's the whole point. Like, if we're not going to have a good time and make memories, then why are we doing it?
Yeah.
Like, I really don't want to spend a small fortune to go to Disney and then everybody be like, oh, yeah, remember that time when I missed out on XYZ because you made me go to Florida?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe your kids wouldn't say that, but, mine do.
It's their age, too. I think that they enjoyed Universal just as much, if not a little more, than Disney at this age. It's the IP they have there, because they're not Mickey anymore, but they're totally Harry Potter and Transformers and stuff. But it's a bigger, better amusement park.
And then the number one reason why we're not going this year is just cost.
Yeah.
Everything involved with the trips, and it's not exclusive to Disney, but everything involved with that kind of trip has gone up and is expected to continue to go up.
Yeah.
And when we were looking at, and this is kind of part of our season of life, that like all of our children are basically young adults. So they eat like adults and they get charged as adults.
Yeah.
So that increases the cost for sure.
Our circumstances have changed too, that even before we leave on vacation, there's more cost involved. We pretty much have to have somebody house sit or pet sit. We usually drive with our, the size of our group, and so gas obviously is very high, and then wear and tear on your vehicle and all of that. So those things have definitely gone up, and that's before you even get there. But Disney specifically has increased their prices like crazy, and not only have the prices gone up, but you get less for what you're paying for. Things that used to be included are not anymore. You're still going to pay for parking even at your hotel. If you want to ride certain rides or you want to get certain fast passes, you have to pay for that now. So a lot more a la carte things. And that used to be, originally when I took the boys when they were little, that was the appeal of going to Disney, was that we were going to pay once, show up and enjoy our vacation. And it's just not like that anymore. You have to budget, for every little thing. And, I don't think they're doing the dining plan still. So, you budget out for, your meals, for everything. And, 5+ years ago when, the boys were younger and I took them, we paid everything up front. We just went and enjoyed our vacation. They had a little spending money for like souvenirs, and that was it. And we didn't have to worry about anything else while we were there. And it's just not like that now. So, that's definitely a factor too, because we're probably in reality going to spend just as much on entertainment this year as we normally do. I don't think that, barring some, big circumstantial change, I don't think that's really going to be any different. But we're putting it in other places because, it's just not as much bang for your buck, and it's a lot more, like the priorities we talked about, it's a lot more trouble to get down there. And we'd much rather have some weekends or, some football games than just to put all our eggs in 1 week in Florida. So
right, yeah. And so this is something that one of the new experiences for me when we and Ashley got together. I had never really considered even going to a trip like Disney, because all I saw was the price tag. And I thought, that is just an unbelievable amount of money to spend on a vacation. And I didn't see the value in it. So when Ashley and I got together and we chose to take all the kids to Disney in that first year versus we eloped, and we took the money we would have spent on a wedding and reception and used it towards that trip. So, that was an eye-opener for me. And I definitely see the value in it. And I'm really looking forward to the grandkids coming,
Yeah.
in 10, 15 years.
Down the line.
Yeah.
Down the line.
Yeah, so
Not right away.
not right away. But I'm looking forward to that because I think it'll be super great to take the grandkids
Yeah.
on these trips and get to experience the oohs and ahs.
Right. Absolutely.
Absolutely looking forward to that. But, thinking back to like our trip in 19 and our trip in 20. So in 19, we had the fast classes were included, like 2 per day, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had the dining plan.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of debate about whether the dining plan is a good deal or not. But I think for our size group, it worked out well.
Yeah.
For where we ate, but on that,
I think money-wise, like what we actually consumed versus what we paid for, maybe it wasn't really a cost savings, but for us and having like 5 kids with us, it was nice to just not have to worry about like what they're ordering. Like it's covered. Right. I don't have to worry. I don't have to like look over and be like, hey, you can't have that. Right. Or whatever, we just...
Well, and that's the thing. And then when we went in 20, they were not doing the dining plans.
Right.
And that trip was a little, it was just me and Ashley compared to the whole family. Mm-hmm. So it made all the difference in the world. But
I think that the 20 trip would have been a lot rougher with a big group. They, of course they're reacting to the pandemic and stuff, but they had a lot of hiccups with mobile order and, they didn't want you standing, at the counter and stuff. So they did a lot of mobile order and that kind of thing. And they were having trouble with it. And so there was just a lot of, hiccups with all that. That was definitely a much easier thing to navigate with a party of 2 than if we would have had all the kids with us. I think that would have been pretty rough.
Right. So there was but the point is that there was a lot more out of pocket expenses while we were there in 20. And, with that big size group, I think that was one of the really great things with the 19 trip was, we paid for it in advance, and that really helped me to have a good time.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't stressed about, are we staying in a budget?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, anything you do with a big group size, it costs a lot of money. Just think about, 8 people going out to eat, and you're going to do that a couple times a day when you're on vacation. So it's nice to have that prepaid, just be able to sit down and enjoy the meal and not have to worry about it. So the last thing I'm going to say about cost is that every person who takes a Disney trip, I guess I shouldn't say every person, but when you take a Disney trip, chances are you're going to leave there thinking of when can I do this again, because it's so much fun, right? But everyone complains about the prices going up, about the nickel and diamond, every little thing they can out of you, and yet you return the next year and pay whatever they ask for. So as long as we continue to do that, those things aren't going to change, because nobody cares about, our videos on the internet complaining about it. As long as they're able to cash the checks, the money's coming in, why change it, So I think that that's just something to consider, is especially when you can get that value somewhere else.
Well, and I'll say, this is the last thing I would say about the cost is, I'm not, us saying that we're not going this year because of cost isn't really a reflection on, saying, is it a good value for what the cost would be to go this year? Because in reality, if our situation was a little different, we'd probably be going this year, you know. So
I don't know. I kind of disagree.
you kind of disagree.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, but I'm not saying, maybe she's saying, I'm not saying that it's not a good value. I think that for a lot of people, it is a good value, you know, because there's a lot of things that you can only get that experience at Disney.
Right.
You know, like if you go to other theme parks and they're nice and they do a good job, but nobody does it like Disney. Like the complete immersion in the moment and
Yeah, absolutely.
and stuff like that. So, I mean, I feel like there's, you know, you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
And in vacations,
Well, I think
This-
there's a difference though between a repeat trip, you know, a family who's been a few times, and that once in a lifetime, you know, vacationer. Because if it's your once in a lifetime Disney trip, then who cares what year it is or what value it is, you should definitely do it. You should get that experience for your family. But, you know, if there's a choice and, you know, my kids have already had that experience, then yeah, I think that this year the value is not as high as in the past, and so I would, you know, look at something else.
all right, so bonus. Should we say what we are going to be doing instead of doing a visiting trip this year?
Sure.
Sure. So the first thing is we got season tickets to the Colts. Go Colts! So we're doing that this year. We're going to do some weekend trips,
Mm-hmm.
you know, locally in the Midwest.
Yep.
You know, are there any destinations you have in mind that you're already planning on?
Not particularly.
Yeah. I think Gatlinburg might be
Might be in the running
in
for
the running
sure.
this year. Branson,
Yeah.
we're going to Branson this year.
We are going to Branson this year.
You know,
That's definitely going to happen. So,
you know, I would really like to go to Dollywood.
I've been to Dollywood. I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not to jinx it or anything, but you know, like she is like America's sweetheart now, grandma. So we really need to go.
Really need to go
while there's time. Yeah,
She's our national treasure now.
the national treasure now. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well,
Okay. What you want? One more bonus?
sure.
What's your favorite? I know how you love favorites. What's your favorite ride at Disney?
Favorite ride at Disney? There's a lot of choices.
Oh, it's tough. That's a tough one.
Is drinking around the world at Epcot a ride? Because that was quite enjoyable. Actually, it was eating around the world. It was
Eating.
food and wine. That was my favorite on the 20 trip for
It's
sure.
very fun.
But
For sure.
let's see, rides. Man, there's so many that are just great. I don't know that I could nail it down to one favorite ride. I could probably say my favorite ride of each park.
Yeah, let's do it. Favorite beach park. So let's say Animal Kingdom.
Animal Kingdom, the Safari Tour. That's my favorite ride there.
Oh, I really enjoy that, but I have to say Avatar.
Yeah, I don't enjoy that one at all.
Riding on the Banshee, you didn't like that?
No, it moves under.
It breathes.
It breathes under you. It's
yeah,
creepy.
It's part of the awesome experience.
Yeah.
Feel it breathe underneath you.
Yeah.
Okay, so Epcot.
Soaring.
Yeah. But you never rode Test Track, have you? You
No.
never have.
No. It's every time we go, it's down.
It's down.
Yeah.
That is a bummer. Yeah. Since you picked Soarin', I'm going to say Test Track.
Okay.
Okay. What else is there? Hollywood Studios.
Hollywood Studios. So I'm going to say that I'm going to put an asterisk on my Hollywood Studio. I'm going to say the Rock and Roller Coaster is my favorite thus far. But the asterisk is because when we went the Millennium Falcon ride, we were the only ones in there.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that might be my favorite ride if it was full and everybody was doing stuff.
Yeah.
Because that was like a really fun ride. A really fun ride.
I was like really fun to like just be us though, because you could have whatever. You could be whatever you wanted. Be the pilot every time.
Right, but it's an interactive ride. Like,
yeah.
It makes a difference. And
yeah.
I'm assuming it makes a difference that we didn't have gunners.
Right.
You know, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I could see that.
So that's my asterisk there. But Rock and Roller Coaster is, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You?
Slinky Dog.
Ooh, Slinky Dog.
Slinky Dog.
That is a good ride.
It's pretty fun. It's like, you know, not very intense, but it's a lot of fun.
Oddly enough, that was the longest wait we had in 20.
Yeah.
The longest wait.
Yeah.
And we did Rise of Resistance and Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, there's a great memory there too, because when we went with all the kids, you know, me and the boys stayed back and closed the park, and we rode that right as the fireworks were starting, and it was pretty awesome. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slinky Dash was fun. Slinky Dog.
Yeah. So, what's left?
Magic Kingdom.
Magic Kingdom.
You first.
Me first. Ooh, that's a tough one. I feel like I'm like obligated to say one of the mountains, but I'm gonna say Haunted Mansion.
Haunted Mansion, huh?
Haunted Mansion, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Thunder.
Thunder.
Thunder Mountain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the seven dwarfs
also very fun.
It's a very fun ride, but I think I like the Thunder one better. And we had like the extra magic hours.
Mm-hmm.
So me and the girls walked on that several times. Me and Samantha. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, me and the boys rode Pirates over and over.
Yeah.
Get that song stuck in your head, and yeah, everything smells like gunpowder. It's awesome.
It's awesome.
So yeah. So for sure, I mean, obviously we love going to Disney and have a lot of fond memories with our family there and enjoy it. We probably will go sometime in the future, just not this year.
Yeah, I think that's it.
I feel like we could just talk about Disney forever because it's fun.
After talking about it, I really just want to go now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the next video may be called, you know, why we changed our mind.
Why we changed our mind. Yeah, we're going anyway.
We're doing it. So.
Okay.
All right.
There it is.